Hi, I'm Greg from the Scary Spirits podcast. Today I'm going to show you how to make a Bates Special cocktail, which is the featured cocktail in this week's podcast, where we review and talk about the 1960 movie, Alfred Hitchcock movie, Psycho. So, we're going to take our shaker. We're going to add 1 ounce of cinnamon schnapps. I'm using Hot Damn, because that's what I had. And I like it. Then we're going to add 1 ounce of butterscotch schnapps. And then we're going to add 1 ounce of milk. Yes, milk. And I forgot to add the ice. So we need ice in our shaker. So we have a shaker filled with ice. And then you shake vigorously. So what we have right now is basically a cocktail called Mother's Milk. We're going to add something to it to make it a Bates Special. So, we're going to pour all that into a chilled couplet glass, which looks something like this, I think. So I'm going to strain. Into a couplet glass. And then lastly, I'm going to take some grenadine and we're going to put 3 drops of grenadine to resemble blood in the milk. And there you have it. You can't see it, but it looks creepy. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's good. So that's how you make the Bates Special. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy the podcast. See ya.
Welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So if you're ready, let's go.
Hi, I'm Greg.
And I'm Karen.
And welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. The podcast that combines the two very different but highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yes, what could possibly go wrong? All right, Karen, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm okay. Are you ready for today's movie?
Yeah, this was actually a good movie.
So we're on episode 8. Can you believe it?
We're knocking them out.
All right. I believe this movie was my choice, was it? Was it not?
Yes. Why did you choose this movie?
Oh, that's a good question.
Isn't it?
Yeah, because today, when this episode airs, it is the 61st anniversary of the premiere of this movie in New York City.
So the first time anyone saw it.
Yep.
61 years ago
61
today.
years ago today. And the movie is Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho.
Dun, dun, dun.
And we do have a cocktail as well, correct?
Yes, we do.
This episode, the cocktail I have selected is called the Bates Special, which is a spin on a cocktail called Mother's Milk.
Seems appropriate.
Yep, exactly. So your ingredients are 1 ounce of cinnamon schnapps, 1 ounce of butterscotch schnapps, 1 ounce of milk, and a few drops of grenadine as a garnish. Would you like to know how to make it, Karen?
I would.
Pretty simple. Add the cinnamon schnapps, the butterscotch schnapps, the milk, in a cocktail shaker with ice. Shake vigorously, which I did and spilled shit all over the place. When you do that, you have mother's milk. You strain that into a chilled couplet glass. Yes, that's how you say it. I looked it up.
We're so refined.
And then you garnish with a few drops of grenadine. So basically what it looks like is milk with drops of blood in it.
I think it looks
awesome.
like Pepto-Bismol, but
You put too much grenadine in that.
no, it came out that way from the cinnamon schnapps. Full disclosure, I could not find butterscotch schnapps.
Butterscotch schnapps is clear. The cinnamon schnapps does have a red tint to it.
Well, maybe what I got, what was
I used Hot
red.
Damn, which is hot cinnamon schnapps. So it's definitely a reddish tint. But yeah, that's how you make it. And I think it's delicious. Should we give everyone a chance to gather the ingredients and make it so they can
Absolutely, because they need to make it.
Hold on. And we're back.
And we're ready.
Hope everyone's enjoying their Bates special. All right. Any corrections, errors, omissions, anything we need to talk about from the last episode?
I don't think so. Weren't we pretty on point? There's no housekeeping.
I don't think so. What was the last movie? I don't even.
The Snake Woman.
The Snake Woman. No house cleaning on that or housekeeping on that, I don't think.
I will just say with this movie, watching this movie versus the other movies that we've been watching is like watching college football and thinking, hey, that's pretty good. It's not bad. And then watching pro football.
High school or college. And well, we've had one college. Most of them have been high school. We've had one college, and this is pro, I would say.
Yeah, to see the difference in everything. Acting, production, just all of it. And I know Hitchcock's a genius and everything, so this is pretty high bar, but it was amazing. I was kind of settling into mediocrity of the other ones and saying, oh, that's not so bad. It's,
so
you
You did watch this on Amazon Prime Video, right?
I did.
Did you know they had the little X-ray thing where they show trivia while you're watching the movie?
I saw that about halfway through. I moved my pointer and it showed up.
Yeah, I saw it at the beginning. Oh, well, I did it several times just to see, but I kind of want to watch it with all that stuff going on now. You know?
Yeah, they put little trivia things on the side of mistakes, just factoids that you'd want to know.
Yeah. Alfred Hitchcock's classic tropes, kind of things he does, themes he uses over and over again. I saw one with one of those. And at the very beginning, this is how I saw it. I happened to like move my mouse, and I'm like, oh shit, there's stuff over here. And one of them was that said that this was his first horror movie.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by that.
Yeah, but I know he was doing his Alfred Hitchcock Presents TV show at the time this was filmed, because those are the people who used to film it. In my research, I learned that he couldn't get the studio to like back him on this movie. They weren't going to pay for it. So he told him he'd pay for it himself if he got 60% of the box office, if they would distribute it. And he used his people he had already hired to do his TV show to film and make this, except for the actors. So
did the studio think it wasn't going to be successful then?
Yeah, they didn't like the story. They didn't think.
But horror was popular. The genre's always been popular, hasn't it?
But good for him. He got 60% of the box office.
How much was that?
That's a good question. So it grossed $50 million. Its box office was $50 million in
1960. Well, when it came out, I'm saying.
Yeah, all I'm saying is the Wikipedia says the box office take was $50 million. Spent $800,000 to make it and made $50 million, and he got 60%, I guess, of the $50 million.
So does he get any royalties from the DVDs and all that stuff?
Well, I don't think so, because they didn't make any sequels or anything or remakes until after he was dead.
But does he have descendants?
I think so.
I know he was married. I don't know if he had children. Hold on.
He married Alma Reville.
That's right, Alma.
In 1926, and they had one child, a daughter named Patricia. And she's credited in the movie Psycho. I don't know what she did, but I did see her name in the opening credits. Which I also made a note, back in those days, actually up until Star Wars, all films the credits were at the beginning as opposed to the end. And Star Wars kind of broke that mold, and the Screen Actors Union was all pissed off about it or whatever.
Well, I'm sure.
I like it much better when they're at the end. I'm just saying, because I was sitting there waiting for this movie to start, reading through all these credits, and I was like, God, this is taking forever.
But that's the point.
But I did make a note. I did like the opening music. The sound. I do like the music or the soundtrack of this film in general.
This soundtrack is amazing. The music's almost like another character, I think. It's so important. I don't know if it would be the same at all if the music was even different. Not just saying without it. If it had no music, it would be different. But even different music, it would change the whole film, I think.
And I have more to say about that later.
Okay. I look forward to it.
Are we ready to get into it?
Let's give it a shot. Don't taking a big drink first.
That's good stuff, I gotta say. It's almost like Strawberry Quick.
Is that what it is to you?
Yeah.
It kind of looks like Strawberry Quick.
I used to love that stuff. Yeah, we go through all the credits.
Well, yeah, I think before you move on, are you a guy that leaves when the movie's over and doesn't watch any of the credits? Okay.
No, I pretty much stay. I try to stay as long as I can, because I'm always afraid there's going to be some scene, some bonus scene at the end, and I'm going to miss it.
Okay. I always stay just out of respect for the people who made it, because otherwise nobody sees their names,
Yeah.
I think they should be at the beginning, but then people would just come late. So,
that's another funny thing about this film. When it was in the theaters were instructed not to admit anyone late.
I saw that, and I wasn't sure exactly what would you miss.
Hitch being Hitch,
I guess, because what are you going to miss in 5 minutes? To be clear,
you missed the afternoon delight.
Well, that's true. Neither Greg nor I had seen this movie before we watched it, which is amazing when you think about it.
I know it is.
And so there are going to be spoilers if you haven't seen it. We are going to kind of talk about what happens throughout the movie.
Just like we do every episode.
Yes, but we're not. I mean, most people know the ending. I had seen that clip many, many times, but I had
most
not.
people know the story, right?
Yes. So,
which is another funny thing that Hitchcock, when he read the book this was based on and wanted to do it as a movie, he sent his assistants out to buy every book that they could find so that no one would be able to read it and know how it ends.
and the book is Psycho. It's called Psycho, right? By Robert Bloch.
I assume it is.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of loosely based on Ed Gein.
Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. That guy has a lot
Also
of horror movies.
Yeah. Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs, so on and so forth.
Anyway, okay. Sorry. I just wanted to get that out there that we hadn't seen it and there may be spoilers. So, watch it before this. Turn us off now and come back later.
All right. So the scene opens in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's around lunchtime. They do say the time of day, flashes across the screen, but I didn't make a note of it.
Well, it's Friday, December 11th.
11th. Yeah, it is. I made a note of that because it's right before my birthday.
2:43 p.m.
Okay. We see Sam and Marion in a hotel room, and Marion is on her lunch hour. That's a pretty late lunch. 2:43.
Well, she says she's late for work. Well, I thought I was a little surprised. I thought they were going to zoom in on The Office. So I was a little surprised when they zoomed in.
The cinematography in this is awesome.
Yeah.
I love all that stuff. They zoom like a wide shot, zoom in on the window, and then they go into the room and we see Marion in her white bra and white slip, right? With topless Sam.
Probably pretty risque back in the day.
Yeah. I mean, they were both lying on the bed. Sam may have had one foot on the floor. I don't know. So that was a thing I know in TV back in the day. You had to keep one foot on the floor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or the censors would not be happy.
I did not know that.
Yep. So they're meeting for lunch. Well, air quotes lunch. And Marion's not happy. She wants to do it out like a normal lunch and go out and have dinner and be seen with other people, which I don't understand why they're so secretive, because neither one of them is married, right? Sam's divorced. Marion's never been married. We learned that in this conversation. So I don't know why they have to be so secretive. So Sam agrees to come the next weekend and meet her for dinner with her sister.
Right.
She was going to make a big steak dinner. And
I think, partly, I think they're establishing Marion with questionable morals here.
You think?
Because they kind of imply that a couple of times later in the movie that she's not an angel, or maybe when we get there, her decisions aren't always.
Yeah. When we get there, I kind of thought that everything that happens later is kind of out of character for her up until we see her meet her sister.
But that's what I mean. I think they're establishing here that she does things that are not traditional. She's not a traditionalist. She's not conforming to society's rules. She's meeting this dude for lunch in a sleazy hotel. So
we don't know it's sleazy. It could be a nice hotel.
I think they said, does it matter?
It's 1960.
In that
like a 1960 hotel. Every 1960s hotel room that I've ever seen. So then we cut to, Marion says they have a conversation, and Marion wants to get married, but they have no money.
And he's got his dad's debt.
Right. And he's got a ex-wife that he's paying alimony to.
Yes.
That lives halfway across the world, he says. Doesn't even know where she is. But he's hoping that she remarries so he doesn't have to keep paying it.
Don't they all?
I wouldn't know.
Okay.
So then we cut to see Mary's going back to work. And who do we see standing outside the bank or wherever she works?
She works in a real estate office.
Real estate office. And who's standing outside as she's walking in?
In a cowboy hat.
As he does.
Yeah.
Alfred Hitchcock. He always has cameos in all his movies. I know that. So
I guess people look for him too.
Yeah, I was looking for him. And it didn't take long for him to show up. The guy comes in. He's going to buy a house for his daughter, right? He's going to pay $40,000 cash.
Yeah, a big shot comes in.
Yeah, $40,000 cash. A $40,000 home. Do you know how much that is in today's money, Cameron?
I do. $360,000.
Roughly 300. I
About
have 354, but yeah, $360,000. You know what the average annual household income in 1960 was?
$18,000.
The average annual household income in 1960 was $5,600.
Wow.
It's a year, right? Annual. You know what the minimum wage was?
No.
No idea. You want to
No.
guess?
75 cents.
See, that's what my wife said when I asked her. No, it was actually $1.
Oh. Well, that's probably for the men. I bet the women made 75 cents. So that's why we said that.
And you know what that $1 is in today's money?
$22.50.
$6.65.
No. Wow.
So I thought it was interesting. So the guy leaves the $40,000 on Marion's desk, right?
The big shot, he's a big shot and he's showing off and he comes in.
And he's flirting with her.
Oh, he's leering at her.
Yeah.
You know, he's he's using a lot of innuendo, you know.
Yep. And he leaves the 40 grand on Marion's desk.
Wants to be her sugar daddy.
Yep. And Marion's boss doesn't want that kind of money laying around. And he tries to convince the guy not to pay cash, but he's like, it's nothing to me. If I lose it, it's nothing.
He seems to be loaded.
Yeah. So Marion's boss tells her he doesn't want it in the office over the weekend. This is a Friday, I guess. He wants her to take it to the bank and put it in a safety deposit box until Monday. And then he's going to try to convince the guy to write a check. Right.
Yeah. And she wants to leave early. She's got a headache.
Yeah. She has a headache and her little work partner there wants to give her a tranquilizer.
I know. Her work partner is comic relief. Yeah.
He says, he wasn't flirting with me. He must have seen my wedding ring.
But she refuses the tranquilizers and just asks the boss for time off. And he says, go ahead. So she leaves with the cash.
Right. So next we see her back at her house. And
I think it's an apartment, isn't it? I don't know.
Kind of look like a house to me.
Oh.
A small house, a small ranch or something. So Mary doesn't take the money to the bank. We see her packing a suitcase and she's wearing her black bra and black slip versus her white bra and white slip.
Dun, dun, dun.
That was a thing, I guess. Hitchcock did that purposely because now she's bad. So she's wearing black.
It's like the cowboy hats, right?
Yeah.
You know who the good and bad guys are by the color of their hats.
Yep. So she packs a suitcase and she decides she's going to drive out to see Sam.
Yes. She stuffs the money in her purse. And when she picked up that suitcase, I'm just going to say, I'm so happy that suitcases have evolved to have
they have wheels now.
Wheels and some of them have four, because hauling that thing, that's so uncomfortable and awkward. But she does it. You would pack light if you had to carry them. Just say that.
Right. So she gets in her car and she's driving. She comes to a stop sign or stoplight, and her boss and the rich dude walk in front of her on the crosswalk.
Yeah, she smiles and waves, and then she goes, "Oh wait,
I'm
stealing
supposed
stuff."
to be at home.
Yeah.
The boss gives her a weird look, smiles at first, and then gives her a look like, "You said you were going to go home and go to bed. You're sick. What are you doing out running the streets, young lady?" Then so she keeps driving, and she keeps hearing conversations in her head. Is that what she's doing? I didn't know if that was actually what was happening or if that is what she is imagining is going to happen. I think
she's imagining very well what's going to happen. So she's hearing it.
She's playing it out in her head
so we know what's happening as the audience.
Okay. That's kind of what I thought, but I wasn't sure.
She's not using telepathy or anything.
No. So it's getting late. She starts getting tired and kind of looks like she's going to doze off. So the next thing we see is she's pulled over on the side of the road, like the next morning. A cop pulls up beside her, stops, backs up, and looks through the glass and sees her laying there on the front seat of the car. Knocks on the glass, wakes her up, asks her what she's doing. And she tries to explain herself, but she seems very guilty. She seems like she's hiding something.
She's cagey. She's cagey as shit. She's
Made me believe that this was out of character, you know?
well, yeah, but I mean that's a lot of money. She's got, you know, a lot of money. She's taken off. Not many of us would be cool cucumbers if you just pulled over to take a nap and your luck is the policeman wakes you up. I mean, what are the odds?
Right. So she convinces the cop that she's just, she just pulled over to sleep it off. And
that's why I was wondering how long it takes to drive. Because what time? She probably left at 5:00.
Right.
Or maybe 4, something like that. And how long is the drive to?
Well, to LA, we assume this is near LA because she buys an LA paper here shortly. It's 5 hours.
So it would only be 9:00 at night when she got there.
In December. So
it could be dark, but still.
Dark.
But she's so exhausted. I mean,
she's worked all day, and then she had that lunch.
That long lunch. You'd think you'd be hyped up on adrenaline, though, if you had $40,000 in your car that wasn't yours. Anyway, so yeah, the cop follows her.
Yeah, follows her. He actually turns off on an exit later, but Marion decides to stop at a used car lot. She's going to ditch the car because she's kind of paranoid. She wants to get a different car, and the cop pulls up and sees her there and stops and watches her as she trades in her old car for a new car.
So what's the point of this? If the cop's watching her, why switch?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he sees her buying the new car.
Once he sees her, it's kind of like pointless to buy a new car, right?
Right.
But she ends up buying a 57 Ford.
No, I did not know.
Trading in her car for a 57 Ford. The car salesman tells her that he'll make her a deal $700 plus her car for this 57 Ford. You know how much $700 is worth in today's money, Karen?
No, I don't.
$6,315.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, so it's $6,000 plus your car, which is basically if you buy you're lucky to get off with that if you buy a used car now. You know what I mean? But I don't know exactly what make and year her car was, so I can't really compare it. But she buys a 57 Ford and it's 1960, so it's a fairly new vehicle, right? But she doesn't really care about it anyway. She wants a different car. She just wants a different car. She didn't really care.
Yeah, I still, like I said, I don't get it. The policeman's watching her. But this policeman, the way they film him, it's very intimidating.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really close on his face, and the music when she's driving and the cop car is behind her is very high, tense. You know, they make him very menacing, the policeman, I thought. And he's just standing across the street from the car lot watching her. But I don't understand why she went through with it.
I don't either. And I'm not sure why he's standing there watching her either.
Well, she was acting all cagey. He knows she's up to something, but he doesn't know what. But then after she buys this car, he disappears.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't get this part really. But I know why you'd want to change your car.
There was a lot of tension.
Well,
right?
Yeah, it was. Yes.
So I think that was the whole point.
I guess.
So Marion gets back, getting her new car, and she's driving on. She's going to go meet Sam.
She almost forgot her luggage and everything.
Yeah, she did. She forgot her luggage. The garage guy, the mechanic or whatever, comes running after her with her luggage, and she just opens the.
I just made a note that the girl needs a bigger purse, man. She's trying to shove all that money in this tiny little purse. So.
It's all $100 bills too, right?
Yeah.
So she leaves the car lot, keeps driving, and it starts raining so hard she can't continue driving. So she pulls over to the nearest motel she finds, and it's the Bates Motel, right?
It is.
It is. And neon lights, Bates Motel vacancy.
But no one's in the office, so she has to honk.
Right. She beeps the horn, and here comes Norman. Norman comes running right down the hill from the house.
Yeah, the house is set back, and he comes running down to the office.
He gives her the registry, and she asks if she has a room, and he says, well, actually I have 12 rooms. None of them are taken. You can have any one. But he decides to give her room 1. It looks like he's going to give her a different one. As he's reaching for the keys,
yeah.
He stops at like 3, but then he goes to 1 and gives it to her.
has her sign the registry. And Marion writes a fake name. Did you make a note of it?
I did not.
I didn't either. I think it's something
Seuss.
Samuel,
Yeah, because of,
something like that.
yeah.
Norman wants her address, and he ends up telling her, oh, whatever, the city's fine. Doesn't matter. So she just writes LA, right? Because she has the LA newspaper, which she purchased at the car lot because she was looking to see if there was any news about her stealing this money. I assume that's what she was doing.
Yeah, but it would have to be like the late edition, right? Because she just took the money
in 1960, you had an AM and a PM, right? Newspaper.
Yeah. But it's not the next day or anything. It's right. It's
right.
The
yeah.
same day,
it's the same day when she buys the newspaper.
I think what struck me most was Norman comes in. He seems like a likable dude.
Yes. I made a note later that he's kind of a good looking kid.
Well, he is good looking, but he's also likable. I don't know what I expected. Of my limited knowledge of the film, I guess I expected him to be menacing when he was suspicious looking, but he looks like a nice person. Just kind of bounces in and is really happy to help her.
Yep. Norman convinces her to come to the house a little later and have dinner with him, right? She's just going to make some sandwiches. Well, he takes her to her room first and he opens the window because he says it's stuffy inside. So then he says, hey, have you had dinner? No. Well, I'm about to go up to the house and eat. I'll come back and get you with my trusty umbrella, even though it had stopped raining by now, right?
Well, a little, but he did tell her there was a diner like 15 miles down the road. So
right.
He even acts like you can go there, or I'm going to make just some sandwiches if you want to eat.
Yeah. So she says, yeah, that'd be fine. She'd like that. And I made a note. Norman is a bit awkward.
He is.
So he goes up to the house, back into the house, and Marion can hear him and his mother arguing about her and how the mother doesn't want her coming to dinner and things like that. Right.
Yeah. The mother's not flattering to Marion.
No. So Norman comes back to Marion's room and brings her a sandwich and a pitcher of milk or whatever.
While he's up there, she's looking for a place to hide the money.
Yeah.
She's looking in drawers, somewhere to put.
She looks in almost every drawer. And I'm thinking, you've already looked. Why is this drawer any better than the other drawer you've already looked in?
All the money's stuffed in a normal size envelope, like a business envelope. So it's sort of not falling out, but it's a big, bulky mass of money that she's trying to figure out where to hide it. And she finally hides it in the newspaper that she bought, which was kind of genius, the way she folds it up.
Mm-hmm. And hides it in plain sight.
Yeah, and just puts the newspaper on the nightstand, and it looks just like a rolled up newspaper. Like, that's smart. Because I was thinking, put it under the mattress.
And I still get the newspaper every day.
Do you look for your crimes? See if anybody's discovered your crimes?
No, but I go through the obituaries.
Oh, Lord. How old are you?
Younger than you.
Oh, touche. Way younger.
Way younger.
Yep.
They decide to have their little dinner in the office, the parlor, which is in the back of the office, adjacent to Marion's room.
After she hears the mom, and I just thought, I would not have dinner with this guy if I heard that. I would use the headache excuse and go to bed.
Yeah. And at this point, Norman says the line, a boy's best friend is his mother.
Well, she asks him, if he goes out with his friends or anything.
Yeah.
Because when you go in the parlor, there's all these stuffed birds in there.
Yeah.
Creepy looking
birds, but they're all birds.
They're all birds, owls,
and we
crows.
Learned that Norman's hobby is taxidermy.
Yes.
But only on birds.
But he says he likes stuffing things. And I don't know if that was a innuendo or just, I don't know.
I don't either.
Marion asks Norman if he goes out with his friends, and he hesitates, and then he says the line. Go ahead and say it.
A boy's best friend is his mother?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is she? You're a boy. Is your best friend your mother?
So then, so Norman and Marion have this conversation, about his life and whatever. And he tells her about his father dying when he was young. And he says, a son is a poor substitute for a lover. He also says that, which I made a note of.
Yeah.
And at one point, Marion says, after Norman tells her about how ill his mother is, she asked if he's ever thought of putting her someplace. And he says, you mean like an institution? And he goes on and on about how horrible those places are. So he seems to have knowledge of institutions. I made a note.
Yeah, he talks too about that his mother is very, like you said, very mentally ill. He tells Marion, but he also tells her that his mother met a man who talked her into building the motel. He could have talked her into anything. And then he just casually says, he died too. And it was too great a loss for his mom.
Yeah. And she went nuts, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
And he doesn't hate his mom. He just hates the illness.
Right.
And that's when she suggests putting her in an institution, and he's offended.
Yeah. And he also says, we all go a little mad sometimes.
Right. And this is where he starts to.
And he grins.
You get a first sign that he's a little off. Because up until then, he seems like a nice, normal, awkward, young man.
Right.
But that's where you start to think as the audience, oh, wait a minute. Maybe something's going on here.
I don't think you're sure yet, right?
No, but you get an inkling. It's your first little, maybe something's up with that dude.
Yeah. So then Marion tells Norman that she's going to go back to Phoenix to fix things. She doesn't say what she's going to fix, but she says she just needs to decide she's not going to go on to LA. She's going to go back to Phoenix to fix things.
Yeah.
And she screws up and tells her real name at this point.
She does, because she did. I do see she checked in as Samuels, and she tells him Crane. And if you want to find out, in my perpetual quest to find the perfect English paper, if you want to find out about all the symbolism of all the birds in the movies, there are websites you can go to and find out. But her name is Crane. Every time they show one of the birds, it foreshadows death. There's bird pictures all over the walls.
Right.
They're everywhere throughout.
I did make a note while they were talking in the parlor while she was eating. The shot of Norman changes. At first we're like kind of looking at him straight on, and then all of a sudden it changes. So we're looking up at him from the side, and the owl is behind him with his wings spread. Right. Yeah.
I mean, there's just a lot of symbolism that you could probably do an entire podcast.
There were also nudes on the wall as well. A couple like classical like paintings of nudes on the wall.
I saw all the birds
hanging below the birds. Yeah.
Because back in that time, a female could have been called a bird, and there's ducks, and she could be a sitting duck. There's a whole, you could do a whole thing on it. So if anyone's interested in that, if you Google it, there's a lot of information on it.
Yep. Go ahead on.
But what started me to think, when he removes the picture on the wall, it's a bird. Yeah. And there's a peephole, people. There's a peephole.
Yeah. And he peeps through and watches Marion begin to get ready to take a shower.
Right.
So we see her again in her black bra and black slip, and she puts a bathrobe on, right?
Well, there is one other thing we should note that she does. Does she do it here where she's figuring out how much money she owes, because she spent $700. So she can't, in her head, she can't do.
She writes it down on paper, does the math on the paper. Because of course there's no calculators. You can't just pull out your phone and do it.
Right.
Use the calculator on your phone or anything. You have to write it down.
But she can't subtract 700 from 43,000.
Well, she has her bank statement out too. So I think she's trying to figure out.
Oh, if she can replace it.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. But anyway.
But she rips it up, tears it up into little pieces, and she goes into the bathroom and flushes it down the toilet. Right?
Yes. The pieces of paper.
Right. And this is when she takes off her bathrobe and we see her black bra is gone.
Okay.
I thought that was kind of weird. I even went back and was like, wait a minute. I could have swore I saw her black bra just like a minute ago. Like as she was putting the robe, over or something.
Well,
But
Yeah,
you could see the outline of it as she's walking, that she's wearing a bra. You know what I mean?
Oh, no, I didn't notice. So,
I did. I went back and looked. I'm like, wait a minute. So that was a little continuity error I kind of saw.
but she is going to take it off for a shower.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, she just takes off her robe and she has nothing on underneath it.
But that's how you take a shower. Greg, girls, that's how women take showers. Just FYI.
Okay. Whatever.
I know what you
I'm
mean.
saying is, as
Yes.
she's walking to the bathroom, I can clearly see the bra
I know.
strap.
Yes. When she's going to flush the paper down the toilet. Yes,
Yes.
I see. Yeah.
And then she just takes the thing off and she's got nothing on. And she gets in the shower. And I wrote, we're 47 minutes in. And finally, we get a dead body. Talking about the music. So this is the shower scene, right? Marion's in there taking a shower. And here comes Mother with a knife.
Yeah,
and
you see a
stabs her
silhouette.
repeatedly, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And
So
back to the music. Originally, Hitchcock wanted no music in this part of the movie, but the guy who wrote the score went ahead and did it anyway. And once Hitchcock saw it with the music, he knew it had to be in there, and he ended up paying the guy extra
well, he should
for
have.
including that.
Yeah, it's incredible. So
And I did make a note. There's not a lot of blood splatter. I mean, there's not a lot of blood, right? You would think as she was sliding down the wall, there would be blood on the wall, but there is none. And there's not a splatter everywhere. You just see it. It's very subtle, right?
well, I think he's pushing the limits in every other way. So maybe there was, and they made him take it out. I don't know, but yeah, as you mentioned, in less than 50 minutes, a main character is gone. This is like Game of Thrones. I haven't watched it, but I heard that they kill off people
Never seen it.
all the time. So this was probably a big shock to the audience.
Probably. And so she kind of falls out of the tub. And again, the cinematography, they zoom down into the drain and then her eye, and they zoom out from her eye. And her eye does twitch and move a little bit, which is kind of a
Well, yeah, at first
goof.
I thought they were doing it as a picture of her. Because that's how she was a great corpse
it was good.
actor.
It was good.
Yeah.
Until there was just one little time, and I imagine, I don't know, who knows how many times he made her do it over and over again.
Right. And her neck twitched too a little bit. But I thought at first they were zooming in on a picture. That's how good she looked.
Yeah.
Well, how dead she looked.
And then we hear Norman and his mother arguing at the house, and Norman says, blood everywhere. So Norman comes running down from the house and he starts cleaning up the murder scene. And I made a note. I imagine you would think about the scene a lot differently if you didn't know the story, right? If this is the first time you've seen it, if you didn't know anything about the film, anything about the plot, nothing about it, and you saw this, I would imagine you would think a lot differently about him cleaning up this scene. You would think he's like the good son, right?
Covering for
Protecting
his mother.
his mother.
Yeah. Yeah, because you saw when whoever comes into the shower, you see them as a silhouette. You see, but it's the outline of a woman's dress and a hair in a bun, and so you're assuming it's the mother. Yes.
So the first time people saw this back in the 1960, they probably thought a lot. This would be like almost Sixth Sense. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
The first time I saw it, at the end, I was like, holy shit. Right? It would kind of be the same thing.
Yeah, you're thinking it's the mother. Because you hear the arguments and supposedly she's some sort of invalid. But yeah, he's cleaning everything up very calmly and systematically. Let's just say not well enough for today's CSI practices.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Just-
not today.
And
he knocks a picture of a bird off the wall as he's cleaning up.
yeah,
I saw that. And I was like, what's the deal with all these birds?
right. So one more bird knocked off, you
Yeah.
know.
And I did make a note that Marion did not have her toenails painted when she got in the shower, but as he pulls her out, she does.
So they used a double?
Yeah.
Or did she paint her toenails?
No,
in
they used a
between?
body double, and the body double had her toenails painted.
Hmm.
So Norman's cleaning up, and I made a note, don't forget about the newspaper, Norman, because at one point they showed it and he was still working on stuff. And then as soon as I wrote that, he like went over and grabbed it.
Yeah, he moves her car. So the car must have had the keys in it, or did you see him grab her keys?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it would have been easy enough for him to get them out of his
I guess
purse or whatever.
I just didn't see him get the keys. But
Nope. So he pulls the car around, puts her body and all of her stuff in the trunk of the car.
which is huge. They must have, those cars had huge trunks.
It's a 57 Ford.
I mean, that's a huge. Yeah, I made it. I see what you mean because I have a note. He's leaving the newspaper. He's leaving the newspaper. But he picks it up not knowing that there's money.
Right. He just picks it up and throws it
in the car.
trunk. And then he sinks the car into a pond or something.
I think it's a swamp.
Yeah. That's what they say later. And as it's about halfway down, it stops.
I know. That was great. Wasn't that great?
It was good. It made me chuckle. And he starts to get worried. He's like, oh, shit. What am I going to do now? How am I going to get it out?
I know. What's he going to do? Well, I thought the same thing. Is he going to jump on it? What's he going to do?
And then all of a sudden it starts sinking all the way in. He grins. He smiles.
I just thought I would have driven it further away than my backyard, but that's just me.
So then we cut to Sam's hardware store. Lila Crane comes in looking for her sister.
First you see Sam writing a letter to Marion that she's
I
right.
I paused it to read it.
She's right. They can be poor as long as they're together.
Yeah. And then Lila comes in and asks to see Sam. And she starts telling Sam that Marion hasn't been seen. And about that time, a guy comes in who we find out is a private investigator because he interrupts the conversation.
Yeah, I think the sisters' good casting. You think they looked alike?
They did.
Yeah, I thought it was
and
very
actually,
believable.
They used her in the trailers. That was one of those little trivia things that came up.
They used
as
the
I was
sister?
watching it. They used Lila, who was Vera Miles. The preview trailer featured Hitchcock giving a tour of the house and the motel, and he goes to the bathroom and opens the shower curtain, and there's a woman in there screaming, and it's actually Vera Miles with a wig like Janet Leigh wore. The word psycho is over her eyes, so it's even harder to tell it's not Janet Leigh.
Because he didn't want anyone to know. I'm surprised he let people know that someone got killed in the shower. Interesting.
So we learned the private investigator is there. He's looking for Marion. He's been hired by her boss, or her boss's.
I think it's her boss because they don't want the police involved. They think they can convince Marion to give the money back.
Yeah, because I think, again, this is kind of they all think it's out of character, except for, I think, Lila. Because
there's a couple of times
they
where
say
somebody will ask her.
Gives a look like.
She pauses when apparently Marion's not made fantastic decisions all her life. She's had some not so good ones along the way, it appears.
So the private investigator goes and he starts checking all the motels and hotels in town.
Because he's convinced if the boyfriend's here, she's there. Yeah.
Right. And he finally gets to the Bates Motel. And he starts talking to Norman, and Norman tells him that he hates the smell of dampness. It's a creepy smell. So he's changing all the linens, even though no one has stayed there. I made a note.
Yeah, and the PI tries to trip him up. He's pressuring him pretty hard.
Yeah.
And
he wants to see his register to see if anyone signed in. Because Norman originally tells him no one's been there for weeks. And then he slips up and says, well, there were a couple here last week that almost drove past it because he didn't
turn the sign on. Yeah.
And then the PI catches him in that little lie. And so then he has to see the registry. And he says, oh, well, here, look here. He happens to have a sample of Marion's handwriting, and he compares it to this. And here we have another upshot of Norman as he's turning his head to look at the registry. It's like a weird angle upshot too, especially as he's moving that way. You know what I mean?
Cinematography.
Yeah, and this is where I said he's actually a good-looking kid.
He is a handsome. He's a handsome dude.
Private investigator tries to get Norman to
let him talk to his mother, and he refuses, and he kind of tells him, "Get lost, get out of here. I'm done talking to you."
Yeah, the PI thinks Norman's hiding Marion because,
Right.
Marion's a good looking woman and Norman looks like he
Yeah,
would be
he thinks
infatuated.
yeah,
And
he thinks that she's on the run, and he is hiding her,
right,
helping her. Right.
right.
So the private investigator goes to a payphone. Remember those, Karen?
Shut up. Remember when they cost a dime?
Yeah. Goes to a payphone and he calls Lila at Sam's Hardware.
Yeah, why does he do this? Why doesn't he just drive? I don't really know why he's calling her then.
Well, I think it just kind of shows that he believes that they have nothing to do with it, that Sam and Lila have nothing to do with it. He believes their story, right? And he wants to help them find their sister/girlfriend.
I just thought he would drive back to them. That's all.
Private investigator tells him he's going to go back to the Bates Motel, see if he can talk to the mother, and he will meet with them in about an hour back at the hardware store. So private investigator gets to the Bates Motel. He starts snooping around. He goes into the office. Norman's nowhere to be found. I guess he's in the house. He opens the safe. The safe is empty. He decides to go up to the house. He kind of walks right in.
No knock, nothing. Just
opens the door, walks in, starts looking around the house.
Everything's unlocked in this movie.
Yep.
Cars, doors, nothing's
locked. He walks
locked.
up the stairs, which is the beginning of a good shot.
Yes.
As he's walking up the stairs. And as he gets to the top, we see Mother come out from her bedroom with the knife.
Well, the door opens by itself, I thought, and the music again is incredible.
Mother comes out and stabs the private investigator, and he falls back down the stairs. And I made a note, it's a good shot of him falling down the stairs backwards, all the way down the stairs. It reminded me of in The Omen when Lee Remick fell from the upstairs landing and they followed her all the way down.
Interesting.
We'll do that at some point.
Fall down the stairs?
No, we'll do The Omen.
Oh, good, because I don't want to be filmed falling down the stairs.
That's what it reminded me of.
I will say that even though you knew something was going to happen, I still jumped when he got stabbed.
Did you?
Well, because I'd not seen the movie.
And I hadn't either. And I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what happened to him.
And the music had me all tense. And, I'm telling you, the music in this thing is incredible. So.
Okay. We cut back to Sam's Hardware, and Lila wants to go look for the private investigator because it's been 3 hours now.
Right.
He's late. He should have been there 2 hours ago. She and Sam kind of argue about it. Sam convinces her to stay, and he will go look because he says, you couldn't find it anyway. You stay here and see if, in case the PI comes back here.
Well, yeah, because she's from out of town.
Right.
And he's from the area.
Yep. Sam goes there. And we don't really spend a lot of time there when Sam's there. He just kind of like goes there and he like yells for Norman and walks around, and that's about it.
Well, he doesn't yell for Norman. He yells for the PI.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he does. He yells for
Arbogast.
Yeah.
Is that what his name is?
Right here. Milton Arbogast. Yeah. Martin Balsam is his actor's name. And while I'm talking about that, a lot of these actors I recognize from sitcoms and dramas on TV in the 70s.
Really?
Yeah, I recognize this guy. I'm like, I know that guy from somewhere. And as I found out, he was in Tora, 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 which I've seen like 20 times. He was in episodes of The $6 Million Man.
Okay.
And he was in St. Elmo's Fire. You remember that movie, Karen?
I do.
So I think that's why I recognize that guy. Probably more The $6 Million Man or Tora, Tora, Tora. Because like I said, I've seen that movie bunches of times. So Sam goes back to the hardware store, meets back with Lila, and they decide to go to the local sheriff, right?
Yeah, and apparently it's the middle of the night now.
Yep. Yeah, it's dark. So they go to the sheriff's house. Sheriff Chambers.
Okay, I just have sheriff. Yeah.
Sheriff and Mrs. Chambers are there in their robes. And they talk about what's been going on, and the PI was going to try to talk to Norman's mother, so on and so forth. And here's where we learn that Norman's mother is dead. right?
Yeah, because the sheriff mentions there was trouble remember the trouble at the hotel 10 years ago.
Right.
So.
And later in the conversation, he goes on to elaborate that Norman's mother's dead. She poisoned the man. This is what he says happened, right?
Right.
She poisoned the man she was dating because I guess she found out he was married or something. And then she killed herself with the same poison, strychnine.
Yeah, you want to know how you die if you have strychnine?
And Mrs. Chambers says that she helped Norman pick out the dress that his mother was
Yes,
buried
Mrs.
in.
Chambers did, yeah.
I think you like foam at the mouth and stuff, don't you?
They say Mrs. Bates and her married lover did a murder-suicide.
Right.
And the sheriff says it's an ugly way to die. Well, it's constant convulsions, like it's constant muscle contractions for hours. You eventually most likely die from asphyxiation caused by paralysis of the neural pathways leading to your diaphragm. So you can't breathe anymore. Yeah. But some of it, people
I'm flashing back to the Sixth Sense again.
So you contracted so hard that you basically bent into a circle and broke bones and things. Mm. And they said, when I was reading about strychnine, you used to be able to get it, but then Agatha Christie kept writing in her books about how to kill people with strychnine. So they started limiting the amount of strychnine you could get, even though it was a rare thing. But she started using it as a way to kill people in her novels. And so, but the sheriff says Norman found them dead together in bed.
In bed. Yep. Norman found the bodies.
And what do you start to think is happened 10 years ago?
I didn't catch it.
You didn't?
I didn't get it.
Because one other thing that that we're talking about.
I thought that would be enough. Finding them in bed would be enough to traumatize them.
Because strychnine's such a horrible, they make a point of it's such a horrible way to die. When we first see Sam at the hardware store, there's a woman in there and she's looking at a pesticide and she makes a big deal about how death should be painless, man or insect.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. So
I didn't get that until just now.
And now it's a big contrast to strychnine poisoning because that's about the most painful way to die, they said.
Yeah. So they convinced the sheriff to call out to the Bates Motel just to see what Norman says, if he's seen the PI or anything. So he does. And of course, nothing's out of the ordinary. He said he was there and then he left. Right? Same with the girl. He was there and then he left.
She was there. Yeah. She was there and left.
Right. So the sheriff decides he will go out there, but he ends up finding nothing. We cut to the next day, which is Sunday. Right. So this whole film takes place in 3 days, pretty much, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yes. But before you go to the church, Norman is talking to his mom. He goes up. So we're back at the Bates house and he goes up the stairs with a wiggle. I don't know if you noticed that, but he had a very funny way.
I was not watching his ass, Karen.
Well, I guess I was. I don't know if they told him to walk slowly or something. It was awkward. But anyway, he goes up there and talks to her and he knows people are going to be coming because of that phone call. He knows. And he wants to put her in the fruit cellar.
Yep.
And she's arguing with him. No, she doesn't want to. So you hear these two voices going back and forth. And then you see him carry her down to the basement.
Right.
So you're still seeing as an audience member.
Correct.
Two people.
There's a woman there. There's a woman being his mother.
Right.
Even the sheriff says at one point, well, if his mother is alive, who is buried in Green Lawn Cemetery or whatever he calls it, Greenfield or.
So we don't know at this point. Is it just, I don't know. Is it someone he's kidnapped and is forcing to be his mother? Or is it, did she not really die? Or
is he a mad scientist and he brought his mother back to life?
Right. Exactly. I mean, there's still two people.
Typically what happens in these movies we watch.
Right. Is she a zombie? But we're still seeing as the audience, two distinct people, two voices, two bodies, two people.
Right. So then we cut to the church.
Which Lila and Sam did not go to church. They walked up to the church.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, they weren't in church.
And
sheriff says that he was out at the hotel before church started. He stopped out there first thing in the morning, and there was nothing out of the ordinary. So Sam and Lila decide to go out there for themselves because Lila won't be satisfied until she sees for herself.
Well, I agree. I mean,
so they go out there, pretend they're a couple, and they rent a room
with no bags.
With no bags.
Now, if you're going to do this ruse, bring a bag. I mean, if you're planning this out, we're going to check in as husband and wife with no bags.
Even Sam says, normally, when people don't have bags, you're asked to pay up front. Because, of course, he's done this a lot on his lunch times.
I guess.
With Marion.
Oh, I didn't think of that. It's true.
So he knows all about this. So Norman charges him $10. I don't know if that was the going hotel rate in 1960 or not, but probably, since
the hourly rate,
the annual income was $5,000. So Sam and Lila decided to investigate the rooms. And I made a note, how do they know that Marion was in cabin number 1? And I don't think they really knew. They just decided to start there.
No, the PI told them.
Okay.
When he called, he told them that she was in room 1.
Okay. That's how they know.
Which was conveniently unlocked.
Yeah,
so they could go right in.
All the rooms are all unlocked. So Sam tells Lila, I'll keep Norman busy while you investigate stuff, right? Or no?
No, I don't think so.
Sam says, I'll keep Norman busy. You go to the house.
That's later.
Yeah, they both investigate room number 1. They look around, open every drawer. They don't find anything except when they go in the bathroom, right? They find that little piece of paper that did not flush down the toilet.
Was it next to the toilet?
4,000. I don't know. She said it didn't flush.
Oh, I thought it was next to the toilet, but.
Well, it kind of looked like she was picking it up off the ground, but when she picks it up, she says,
I think she
stuck to the bowl or something and didn't flush or something.
Maybe.
And it happened to be the piece that had $40,000 written on it with a minus sign. And
right. She was trying to figure out how to pay it back. They come to that conclusion. Yeah.
So they know that she had to be there. And they should have already known that she was, because that's what everyone has said. She was there and left. Right. Right.
And Lila
this just proves it, I guess.
She just wants to talk to the mother. She's determined.
So Sam says, I'll keep Norman busy. You go up to the house.
Yeah, because Lila is overconfident. She says, I can handle a sick old woman.
That's right. So Sam goes to talk to Norman, and Lila goes up to the house.
And I said, do you think that Norman was watching him through the peephole? But I'm guessing no, because he didn't know that she was going up to the house. So
no, but or I thought maybe he was just standing there listening. Because before he looked at the peephole earlier, when Marion was in there, he stopped and he was listening.
Okay.
He could hear what was going on. Lila goes up to the house. She walks right in again.
Yeah. But the music, again, incredible. So very tense, very scary. And the house is open. Yep. Just like you said.
She walks up the stairs and goes into what is obviously Mother's room.
Yeah. There's a closet full of her clothes.
Yeah. You can see that her outline in the bed where she's been laying
that was
there
bizarre.
Curled up.
She must have weighed like 300 pounds because there was quite the indent.
Well, she's been in the same position every night for 10 years, probably.
Yeah.
And then she startled herself with the mirrors. There's mirrors all over the place reflecting on each other. And she scares herself.
Right. And I jumped again.
Yeah, I think that was kind of meant to be a startle scare. Then she goes into what appears to be Norman's room, right? And it's still the room of a boy, a little boy.
Yeah. And they're going in between these scenes with back to Bates and Sam
and Norman talking.
And Norman's talking how he had a happy childhood. Yeah. And then Sam starts taunting Norman.
Yeah, kind of pressing him a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't you like to get out of here? If you could get out of here, how would you get out of here?
Because
I think you have the money to get out of here.
Right. They think that Norman stole the cash.
Right.
That's what they think. He did something to Marion and took the money.
Right. So Marion walks over to a record player in Norman's room. And the record on the record player is Beethoven's Symphony No. 3 in E flat major, Opus 55.
Nice.
And it's called Eroica. Eroica, Eroica, is like the common name for it. That is French for heroic.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought that had to be important. Beethoven originally was going to name it Bonaparte for Napoleon Bonaparte. But then once Napoleon became emperor, he changed it to just heroic.
Interesting.
And it includes a funeral march and all this kind of stuff in it too. So yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting. So then finally, Sam has pushed Norman to the edge and they start to struggle, right?
Yeah, and Norman hits Sam over the head.
With a blunt object of some sort he grabbed off a table. I couldn't tell what it was.
I couldn't tell either. Conveniently there.
Yeah, maybe an ashtray or something. I don't know. Some kind of knickknack. Because he realizes Lila's up there at the house, right?
Right. So he runs.
So Norman runs up the stairs up to the house. And then as he enters the house, he runs upstairs and Lila runs downstairs.
Which, down to the basement.
Down to the basement.
You can't escape from. Is this the beginning of the
If it's really a basement, I mean, there was always an egress, a way out, basically, of basements, right? Back in the day.
I guess. But
don't you remember the doors that were always,
I guess.
cellar doors?
I don't know. It just, to me, it was just seemed like it's just overdone now where somebody goes down into the basement. You never go in the basement.
She's just trying to get away from Norman.
But she should have run out the front door.
He went upstairs?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what I would have done.
He couldn't have made it out. She could have made it out.
You would think. Well, she's in heels.
She's determined to find her sister and wants to know what happened to her sister.
And she doesn't know that he's going to kill her. Or she doesn't. I don't know what she thinks. Although if she thinks he killed her sister, I think I would leave and go get the police to come back with me.
Maybe.
That's
what Lila goes downstairs and she finds Mrs. Bates. Right.
So this is, the famous scene that everybody's seen, right?
Yeah.
I still backed
the corpse
away.
Turns around.
Yeah.
The chair spins around as the corpse. And
as she's approaching it, I'm still.
And then Norman comes in with the knife, dressed as his mother. He's going to try to kill her.
Yes.
And Sam comes in.
And you see it's Norman. You see him. Yes. So it all comes together right then that you see him. And Sam goes into hero mode and takes him out. But the swinging light on the skeleton is fantastic. That is fantastic.
And as she did it, I could tell, I wonder how many takes it took for her to hit that light, because it was obviously she was trying to hit it. To me, anyway, it looked like.
Yeah.
But it was fantastic. So then
I was still scared, even though I'd seen it. I still jumped, because even though I knew it was coming, but they pull it out just long enough to get you revved up, even, because how long is it going to take? When's it going to turn around? What's happening? It's not too long. It's not too short. Just the right amount of time.
Yeah. So then we cut to the police station and Norman's being interviewed by a psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist is Dr. Richmond. And the actor's name is Simon Oakland. And this was another one. As soon as I saw that guy, I'm like, I know that guy. I know that guy from
What's
somewhere.
he from?
I can't even read my writing. Yeah. Once again, he was in, remember the cop show Toma? You remember that one? Yeah, he was in it. He was in Baba Black Sheep. You remember that TV show with Robert Conrad? He was in the Rockford Files. That's where I probably know him from. He was on 4 episodes of the Rockford Files over 3 seasons. He was also on Charlie's Angels. He had reoccurring roles on the Rockford Files, Quincy, Emmy, Chips.
So he's a character actor.
He's a character actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Baba Black Sheep. He was on it for the whole series as Brigadier General Thomas More. So one of those, either Baba Black Sheep or probably the Rockford Files, is where I recognize him from. Although I do remember watching Toma too.
No, I didn't see any of that.
So the psychiatrist then tells everyone the whole story about how Norman's gone and now his mother's taking over. And we find out that Norman killed his mother and his mother's lover. And apparently he's killed a few more people because he asked the
police detective or whatever if he has any missing person cases that are still open. And he's like, yeah, we have 2. And like, well, that's probably him.
Yeah. So yeah,
Says, I bet
Lila
if you go up there and dredge the swamp, you'll find all kinds of stuff, right?
Lila finds out her sister's dead, and
Yeah.
so is the investigator and probably the 2 young girls. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was 2. Yeah, exactly. He did ask if they were specifically young girls who were missing.
And then he says matricide is the most unbearable crime of all. I kind of like that. So I don't want to get killed. I'm going to tell my kids this. This is the most unbearable crime of all, as if you kill your mother.
Then one of the cops comes and walks in and says, hey, can I give him this blanket? He says he's felt a chill.
He felt a chill.
And they say, yeah, that's fine, as he lights a Marlboro. This is the first time anyone's fired up a cigarette in this movie, too. So then we cut to a scene and we see Norman in there with his wool blanket.
Well, they do. Before you go there, the one thing the psychiatrist says that I thought was interesting, they're asking about the money. Where's the money?
Yeah.
And the doctor says
car.
It's a crime of passion, not profit. He wasn't in, even if he knew there was money, he didn't want the money. It wasn't about the money.
Nope.
But yes, then now that he's in the cell with his blanket.
Yeah, we hear Mother's voice talking and
about how she's going to hand him in.
Yeah.
She's going to throw him under the bus.
And she says, I'm not even going to, a fly lands on his hand. And she says, I'm not even going to swat that fly. They're probably watching me. They're probably watching me right now. And they're going to say, why? She couldn't even hurt a fly. That's my impression of Mother.
It's not bad.
Next scene, we see them pulling the car out of the swamp.
Well, did you see where they kind of morphed him into her?
Into a skull? Or I thought it was a skull.
Yeah. Well, her.
Yeah, his face kind of morphed into a skull for like a split second as they were fading to the scene of the car being pulled up out of the swamp.
It's very creepy.
Yeah. The end. What do you think, Karen?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Oh, about the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. It's really good.
Like I said, leaps and bounds better than anything we've done.
Yes. So anything you were specifically pleasantly surprised by?
Well, more than pleasantly surprised, I was just blown away by the music. The way it was incorporated in everywhere. It was perfection. There was never a point. It just added so much. I can't say enough about it.
Anything you were very disappointed in? Anything you didn't like?
The only thing that I thought I was going to be disappointed in was I thought that they were going to use him dressing up as his mother as the mental illness, like being a transvestite was what was making him. But they clarified.
Yeah, they did. The cop said one cop said, well, he's a transvestite. And the psychiatrist says, no, actually he's not.
Right. But
he's not doing it for sexual pleasure.
It was still, unfortunately, then that was still a psychotic disease.
Psychosis.
Yeah. They still used that as something was horribly wrong with you. But I thought that they were going to pin that on Norman as the reason that he was insane, but they totally clarified it. So I wasn't really disappointed in anything. You know, I thought the acting was amazing. Again, we've been watching such horrible films that this just looks like, genius. And he is a genius. So lighting was amazing. Yeah. Everything about it. I mean, it's from what you said that nobody thought it was going to be a hit, and he did. Such incredible foresight. Yeah. Either he just really thought a lot of himself, or he knew the audience.
He read the book and he thought it was a great story, and he can make it into a good movie, I guess.
What about you? Anything you particularly enjoyed?
The cinematography.
Yeah, it was impressive.
Yeah, it was very good.
Did you not like anything?
I don't know. I don't think so. Towards the end, it almost felt like the story got kind of rushed or something. I don't know.
Just wrapping everything up.
Yeah.
Tidy.
Yeah, but other than that,
You're right. They throw in that 2 other girls were murdered. They throw in like they just start throwing stuff in too.
Well, pretty much as soon as Lila and Sam team up, that's when it kind of got the story kind of went off track for me, I guess, maybe a little bit, or got rushed. And apparently in the novel, I was just reading that there's a whole like romance between Lila and Sam in the novel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they left that out of the movie.
So did Sam not really love Marion?
I don't know.
Interesting.
So how many cocktails?
A half. I mean,
Oh, that's right. We do it ass backwards, don't we?
yes, we do.
Yeah.
You don't need a cocktail to watch this movie.
But it's enjoyable. I had a beer while I was watching it. I had 1 beer while I was watching.
See?
So yeah, half a cocktail.
You didn't do a lot of rolling your eyeballs and getting up to get another drink.
Oh.
And those are only an hour long usually. This was a longer movie, much longer.
Yeah, almost 2 hours. So half a cocktail.
Yep, that's what I say. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
And that's exactly what I drank because this drink is disgusting. So.
Mine's been gone a while again. There's only 3 ounces beverage there.
But maybe with the proper ingredients, it's better. But
I was thinking I might have to stop halfway through and make another one or something, or make a shot, or maybe some Di-Sirop now on the rocks.
Mm-hmm.
But no.
Or just a cinnamon schnapps shot.
So you don't comment on the drink. You're not high on it.
I don't think I can truly comment because I didn't have all the ingredients. So I was trying to make it with substitutes, and there's no way to know. I can't comment.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
What does a butterscotch schnapps shot taste like?
Well, let's find out, shall we? Hold on. Christmassy.
Christmassy?
Tastes like butterscotch candy. Karen,
What?
anything we learned today?
Don't run to the basement. But, that's just me.
Well, we learned that the average annual income in 1960 was $5,600. Minimum wage was $1.
For men.
What else? Well, we learned that Beethoven's Symphony No. 3 in E flat major, Opus 55, was written in honor of Napoleon Bonaparte.
We learned how painful death by strychnine was.
Yes.
And why they limited its.
We also learned that the movie Psycho was premiered 61 years ago today in New York City.
I think even if you've seen it, it deserves a rewatch.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I can't believe I've never seen it.
Was a little strange that neither one of us had.
Yeah. All right. What's the next movie?
The next movie I have been talked into.
This is your choice.
We're going to watch The Evil Dead.
Why did we pick that movie?
Is it Bruce Campbell's birthday?
It is. Next Tuesday, the day before the next episode comes out, is Bruce Campbell's birthday.
So there
if you
go.
don't know, is the star of The Evil Dead.
So we're going to give that a whirl and see. These are not usually my favorites, so I might be complaining through the whole thing, but we'll see. Maybe I'll.
You've never seen it.
No, I have not.
So I have.
I
enjoyed it.
Multiple times, I'm guessing.
I don't know if I did or not. Maybe. I don't think so. Maybe once, but not long ago, because I streamed it. I think it was on Netflix at the time when I watched it. So.
Oh, so you didn't see it on the big screen?
No.
Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll be converted to enjoying these type of movies, but they're not usually my thing. The gore doesn't really appeal to me, but we'll see. Got to give it a try. That's the whole point.
It's not that. It's not bad. I'm not a fan of gore either. Do we have a cocktail?
Yeah, it's called Demon Possession.
What are we going to need to make this drink, Karen?
We're going to need rum.
Got it.
Citrus vodka.
Does ruby red grapefruit vodka count?
I don't think so. Blue
Okay.
curacao,
Okay, got it.
lemonade,
Got it.
and bitters.
Got it.
So you just need citrus vodka.
Okay. I can do that. Are you sure ruby red grapefruit vodka doesn't count as citrus?
I don't know.
No, I'll get some. You can never have too much citrus vodka, can you? Really?
I don't think so. And basically, you just mix it all together.
Cool.
I think the bitters on the top kind of look like blood in the blue
Okay.
drink. So you probably put those on at the end.
Okay. I can do that. Anything else? Well, we do need to once again thank the band Verse 13 for letting us use their music in the podcast. And once again, their information is linked in the show notes.
And I want to thank Kim and Luke for showing up with the alcohol.
Yeah, what would we do without Kim and Luke?
It wouldn't be as fun, that's for sure.
Yeah. Anything else?
As always, please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Once again, we have proven that the movies might be iffy, but the drinks are solid. Be sure to show us some love and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Scary Spirits Podcast. Email us your questions and comments to scaryspiritspodcast@gmail.com. Search for us on YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast. You can find all the recipes for our themed drinks in the recipe den on our website, scaryspirits.com. And we highly recommend our Scary Spirits merch store. Lots of cool stuff with our logo on it. You can find a link to the store on the website. And remember, you can help build our audience by leaving us a 5-star review. As always, thanks for listening.